Hey, Astra kids, and welcome back. And this is your horoscope for Mars in Cancer, as it will be shifting into its debilitation here on 1st of June. So we have a lot to talk about with this transit as Mars is coming into its debilitated place here in the sign of Cancer. So up on the screen is the chart for this transit of Mars in Cancer here, starting out on June the 1st. And we will talk about the different nakshatras that Mars will transit through, as it is starting out here in the Punarvasu Nakshatra. And Mars, again, is debilitated in the sign of Cancer. This is a weakened state because if you recall, Mars is the protector, it is the warrior, the soldier. And Cancer is all about what is comfortable, what is nurturing, what is close to home for us. Cancer is all about the security, the protection, the comfort, the safety, the home environment. And so Mars is uncomfortable here as Mars doesn't have a challenge or an activity to do. Mars is defending the homeland as it comes into the sign of Cancer. And so what this does is this increases our emotional intensity, right? Mars is coming into this zone where now it has to defend and protect what is emotionally connected to it. So this becomes a very emotionally charged transit as Mars comes into the sign of Cancer. This also becomes a transit where our energy, our motivation can go down, as this is bringing Mars back into the comfort zone where, again, there's not really much challenge or activity going on with this particular position. So this is really a time of really storing up your energy, saving your energy, making sure that you are being able to have enough energy to strive, to push forward. And this is a time where some of you, depending on where this is in your chart, you may have a huge focus in your home, in the things that are comfortable, that are safe to you. For some of you, this is actually going to be a good transit as well. And we'll talk more about that in the video as we get into the horoscopes, because depending on where this is in your chart, this can actually be a positive transit where this gives you a tremendous amount of energy and drive in the area of your chart. But typically, Mars is weakened here in this sign of Cancer. Now, Mars is going to cast an aspect over to Jupiter. Jupiter sitting there in the sign of Aquarius. Once again, we have this huge focus that is centered on humanity as a whole and pushing forward into the future. Our desires, our hopes and dreams, our view of what the future and everything is going to look like as we are resolving all of these issues and coming together collectively becomes a huge focus here with this Jupiter Aquarius transit. Now, we'll talk more about Jupiter in a future video as it will soon be stationing retrograde after this Mercury retrograde. So we have a lot to talk about as far as Jupiter coming into its retrograde zone. We talked a little bit about it in those June 2021 horoscopes. So if you have not checked that out yet, feel free to check that out. That's very specific to how these transits will affect you generally, and we will take a deeper dive in a future video for Jupiter. But as Mars is casting an aspect over onto Jupiter, this is really a huge time where your luck, your hopes, your dreams can increase. The intensity, the drive to work towards these things is huge, and especially on an emotional level. Once again, Cancer is connected to our feelings, right? Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is our mind, the way that we feel and think. And so there's a huge amount of motivation and determination within our psyche to move towards these dreams, these goals, these higher visions of Jupiter and Aquarius. And for those who are following those three extra planets, Mars is also casting an aspect over onto Uranus. And so this can give a tremendous amount of chaotic energy once again, where we have to make sure that we're storing and using our energy properly throughout this Mars and Cancer transit, as that Uranus can throw things out of the ordinary, right? It can be very chaotic, it can be very unpredictable with the way that we are asserting our energy and drive, especially with Uranus being in Aries, the sign that is ruled by Mars. Now, Mars is also getting aspected by K2. And so, once again, this is a time where you may find that your energy levels are going down, that this is a time where maybe some of you are thinking about vacation, thinking about relaxing, withdrawing, with K2 being the planet of losses, of the things that are hidden below the surface. This is really a time of contentment and relaxation. K2, once again, is in a position where this is a lot of work and cleanup to do internally. And remember that this is all happening in the midst of an eclipse season and a retrograde season where we have a lot of internal work to do, a lot of things to do internally with ourselves, and especially with K2 being in the sign of Scorpio, which is having to do with our emotional intensity. Any sort of traumas, fears, worries, doubts, all of these internal unresolved issues. This is where Scorpio is trying to get you to transform, to heal, to work through these internal issues with this K2 Scorpio position here. A lot of internal work to do. And once again, this has all been a part of this time period that we are in collectively as this K2 Scorpio Rahu Taurus axis began in 2020 as we started to come inward and out of the physical, tangible reality. And so, a lot in terms of this K2 Scorpio that's pulling us internally to work through our heavy emotional issues and our unresolved issues that need to be healed and worked through. Scorpio is here to give us a tremendous amount of power as it is transforming us, it is healing us internally through this K2 position. Although Rahu is there, once again, where it is trying to show us that our desire to move towards something materialistic, to move to something outside of ourselves in the physical, the tangible, to feel better is not necessarily the answer, right? Rahu is that planet that gives us all that we want in the material world, but it is a shadowy planet. It is an illusion. It is showing us that what we want, what we desire is an illusion. And Rahu is very close with the sun as this is coming off of this period here where we are entering into this eclipse zone. So once again, we are here in this eclipse season. We just finished off here with a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And now in this position with Rahu so close to the sun, we are getting closer and closer to this point where we will enter into the new moon solar eclipse. So if you have not checked out those videos on the lunar eclipse in Scorpio there in the Punarvasu Nakshatra and the solar eclipse in the Mixture Nakshatra, make sure to check those out. I will leave links above and down below in the description. But this is a huge time of moving towards our goals, our dreams, the things that we want in life. And the sun there with Rahu is amplifying this, where our desire is around shining, is around our position, our authority, our career, where we want our path and purpose to move into. And so remember that everything that K2 and Scorpio is showing us is about the things that need to be dealt with and addressed internally. And this Mars Cancer is hugely a part of this as we have a lot of internal work to do, to resolve, to go in, to heal. Remember that Mars cuts through things, and Cancer is dealing with our emotions, our thoughts. This is a time of going in and dissecting into ourselves to see the areas that need to be healed, that need to be addressed, that need to be looked at this time. Now, at the same time, this will be when Mercury is starting to leave its position of Gemini and it will retrograde back into Taurus, where it will join up with this new moon that we will have here on the 10th. Again, if you've not checked out that solar eclipse new moon video there on the 10th of June, feel free to. I'll leave a link above and down below in the description. But this is a major time of the clarity, the insight coming to us as Mercury is the messenger, moving back into that zone of the eclipse. A lot that is going to come to our attention, a lot that we're not going to see or be aware of, but we are getting these messages from the universe about what direction we are supposed to move into that is of value, of worth to us. That Mars in Cancer also being about the passion, the drive, moving into what nurtures us, into what comforts us, into what is secure. And so there's a lot that is centered around this at this time where we are leaving behind the old trauma, the old pain, the old issues that no longer serve us, and shifting forward into the zone of what truly does nurture and satisfy us within our souls. So let's go ahead and talk about the nakshatras that this Mars will shift through here in the sign of Cancer. Starting off here with the Punarvasu Nakshatra, this is a Jupiter-controlled nakshatra. It is symbolized by the bow and quiver, big time of aiming ahead towards your goals, towards your dreams, towards the things that you want to accomplish. Once again, this Mars in Cancer is going to cast an aspect over to Jupiter that is there in Aquarius, big time in terms of our vision, our dreams, our higher goals, our wishes and hopes in life, and moving in this direction towards what we truly want for ourselves, what is truly of value, what is truly coming from the heart space of what we want to achieve in our lives. So this Punarvasu Nakshatra is a huge time to think about the things that you want to achieve, the direction that you want to move in. And remember that Punarvasu is a nakshatra where this is a very lucky nakshatra where even when you are losing or running into roadblocks, the more that you continue, you will get better results each time, right? This is a nakshatra that is all about this movement back into the zone of what is going to bless you, what is going to give you prosperity. So when something fails, you get something better out of this nakshatra. So keep that in mind as you are focused on your goals, your achievements, on what you are trying to move into the direction of at this time. Once again, we are in this eclipse zone where a lot of truth is being revealed as Scorpio is a sign of truth. And we have this K2 sitting back in Scorpio. There's a lot that's coming up to the surface with that detective energy. We have a lot internally to face and to uncover at this time. And for those who are in a position of believing that they are moving into something that is comfortable, into something that is safe, you may find that the truth of what the direction that you really want to move into at a soul level is something entirely different. And so continuing to work towards your soul's desire, towards your dreams, towards what you want to accomplish is huge. And this solar eclipse coming up on the 10th is opening up a big doorway for you to step into your dreams. The next nakshatra is the Pushya Nakshatra. This will fall in the middle of Cancer here. And this is a big time, once again, of moving into what nurtures you, into what brings you peace of mind. Pushya is symbolized by the cow's udder. This is all about nourishment. And this is ruled by Saturn, right? Remaining disciplined, remaining focused in on what is nurturing you, what is bringing you the most joy, the most happiness, the most security, that is in alignment with, again, what nurtures and satisfies your soul. So this is a huge time of moving into the direction of what is truly for you and not for these outside desires that you believe is the truth. A lot of investigation to do at a deeper level to make sure that you are on the true path that is satisfying and nurturing you at a whole. Last nakshatra here in the sign of Cancer that Mars will shift into as is the Ashlesha Nakshatra. This is a very interesting nakshatra as this is very much connected to magic, connected to the occult, connected to this deeper wisdom, this underground knowledge, right? So this is a huge time, once again, of investigating, of looking deeper into what serves you, into what brings you the most joy. This is symbolized by a serpent-like entity. So this ability to uncover the things that are underground, to go into these unknown places. So there's a lot of healing, a lot of internal work to do, and a lot that you can uncover through meditation, through spiritual practices, mystical practices, through this Ashlesha Nakshatra. Huge focus in on this area here as we're going through this transit of Mars. So let's talk about each of your horoscopes according to your moon sign or your ascendant sign. Starting off here, for those of you with an Aries ascendant, this will be Mars entering into your fourth house. Remember that for those of you with a Aries ascendant, that you have the original horoscope. So as Mars comes into this zone of Cancer in your fourth house, this is the original home of Cancer. And this is putting a huge emphasis on your home environment. And so this is a huge time of protecting, of defending, of some of you having to put a lot of effort and time into your family and home environment. This may be a time of having to make some improvements and adjustments within the home environment, having to support a family member, especially with Mars controlling that eighth house. You may have a close relationship that you have to put a lot of energy into at this time. This is also a big time to work on yourself, though, as Mars is your chart ruler. There's a lot here in terms of going within and looking internally at yourself in the areas that you need to grow and progress in at this time. For those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, this will be Cancer there in your third house. And so this is a huge time where we have this Martian energy debilitated in Cancer there in the third house, where this is a great time for you to work on your communication, your entrepreneurships, having the courage. Mars coming into the third house is very powerful, giving you a tremendous amount of courage and willpower to put your skills, your talents, your efforts out into the world. So this is a very powerful transit, and especially as we have this Jupiter in Aquarius that is sitting there in your 10th house of career in that aspect from Mars. This is a huge time of entering into this new area. This is the eighth aspect from Mars, where entering into a new zone here, a lot that is changing and growing for you in your career, in the way that you're presenting yourself, in terms of your business skills. Very much about working on those entrepreneurship skills, those communication skills, the way that you are putting your talents and gifts out into the world. For those of you with a Gemini moon, Gemini ascendant, this will be Mars in your second house. And this is a huge time with Mars in the second house of putting your energy into your work, your responsibilities, especially as Mars is controlling that sixth house of your work, your daily routine, your challenges, the things that you need to face within your daily work environment. And also with Aries back there in that 11th house, where this is a huge time for work, for responsibility, for routine at this time with this energy. We do also have K2 there in that sixth house, casting the aspect over to Mars, and Jupiter, which is there in Aquarius, there in your ninth house. So this is a huge time to elevate yourself in terms of your skills, your talents, your growth in your work environment. There's a lot that you can take away from your elders or from those mentors, teachers, your experiences, the things that provide you with wisdom and knowledge, and applying this into your work, your routine, your ability to build up security and finances in your life. This is a big time for progression for those of you with a Gemini moon, Gemini ascendant. For those of you with a Cancer moon or Cancer ascendant, this will be Mars entering into your first house And so this is giving you a tremendous amount of energy and power. Even though this is in debilitation, Mars is a very lucky planet for those of you with the Cancer moon, Cancer ascendant, as it is controlling your 10th house with Aries and your 5th house with Scorpio. This is a huge time in terms of your efforts in your work, your routine, in pushing ahead in all of your accomplishments with that 5th house activation. Very lucky house with Scorpio there for you to work on your talents, your gifts, your skills, and some of you even potentially gaining some fame, some attention at this time through the things that you can do. For those of you with the Leo moon, Leo ascendant, this will be Mars back in your 12th house. This is a huge time to go inward with this Martian influence here. Mars is a very positive planet for you as it controls your 4th house and your 9th house, two very happy houses, that 9th house being a very fortunate and lucky house. But this is a time of going inward as this sits back in your 12th house, taking some time to reflect, to meditate, to look inward, as this is going to have a huge effect on your learning, on the information that you can gain with that 9th house involved and that 12th house, two of our spiritual houses, and with your 4th house, which takes you internally into your mind. So this is a huge time of looking inward and gaining some knowledge, gaining some insight through taking this time internally within yourself. For those of you with a Virgo moon, Virgo ascendant, this will be Mars back in your 11th house in Cancer. This is a huge time for your gains, your career, your business efforts. Mars is a bit of a challenging planet for those of you, as it is ruling over your 8th house with Aries and your 3rd house with Scorpio. So this is going to take a little bit of effort, a little bit of willpower to push yourself out into the world to make these dreams happen. But with the Mars here, you can gain a lot of support, a lot of people who are there to protect you, to stand by your side, to give you some greater insight. There can be some males who are coming into your life to give you some support in your career. For those of you with a Libra moon or Libra ascendant, this will be Mars in your 10th house, very powerful position. You can see some big strides in your career, big time to put yourself out into the world, to make an effort, to take the initiative. This can be a time of stepping up in terms of your duties, your commitments, your responsibilities. Mars is controlling your 2nd house and your 7th house of Aries. A bit of a business focused time, as you have a lot of responsibilities and commitments that are being put on you through this Mars transit. For those of you with a Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant, Mars is very auspicious. It is your ruler, and it's also in your 9th house, which is a lucky house. This is a major time where you can do some learning, some studying, where you can gain some success in this area. And this is a big time of exploring things at a deeper level and helping you to work through your challenges, as this is Mars also controlling your 6th house of your enemies, your conflicts, your work, your responsibilities. And so Mars here giving you a tremendous amount of wisdom and intellect to push through some of these challenges and obstacles in your path. You may even receive some wisdom, some insight from a teacher, a mentor at this time. And especially with this being Mars, this can be a male influence that comes in to give you some advice in this area. We also, of course, have Jupiter, which is receiving an aspect over from Mars, very auspicious as it sits in your 4th house. This is a very happy time where you can experience some great success through this Mars and Cancer transit. For those of you with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, this will be Mars back in your 8th house. This is a major time of dealing with obstacles and challenges. That 8th house being a house of crisis. This could also be a time where your energy, your passion towards relationships is increased. And so this can be a very passionate
and sexy time for those with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant. This is also a big time of really exploring the unknown, going through the difficulties and challenges of life, and this takes you through a huge transformation, especially as Mars is controlling your fifth house along with your 12th house. A lot of internal work to do for you to better yourself, to become much more active and expressive in who you are as an individual. So this is very lucky placement with Mars controlling that fifth house, where there's a lot of internal growth and work for you to do, for you to better and improve upon yourself.
For those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, this will be Mars back in your seventh house, where this is a huge time of relationship difficulties. Now, Mars is a tricky planet for you. It is ruling your fourth house, of course, but it's also controlling that 11th house with Scorpio. So, Mars is a bit of a difficult planet for those of you with a Capricorn moon. It is one that grows with time. And we have this energy here that is here in your seventh house. Mars always has a challenging time in the seventh house, as this is the house of partnerships, of compromise, of agreement, of marriage, of business. And Mars is a soldier and wants to fight. So this can be an area where you can run into some arguments, some challenges, some difficulties in the area of your relationships. Big time to pay close attention to your speech, to the way that you're communicating, the way that you are approaching relationships at this time. There can be some aggressiveness that is there. There can be a little bit of a feistiness in the relationships, and you can run into people who have this same sort of energy. So, this is a time to sort of work in terms of your communication skills, making sure that everything is understood properly in this area, as you can run into some misunderstandings. For those of you with an Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant, this will be Mars shifting into your eighth house of Cancer. This is a big time. I'm sorry, back into your sixth house of Cancer. So, this is a big time for you to work on your skills, to work on your talents and your gifts with this happening here in this house. And this is, of course, a Martian influence that is very tricky with your planet, your ruler there being Saturn. And so, with this Mars energy, this is a big time for you to work here in terms of your responsibilities, your obstacles, your challenges, pushing through some of these difficulties in this area. Now, we will also see Mars receiving an aspect from K2, which is all the way back there in your 10th house. Big emphasis on career with this happening here. So, this is a huge time where you can see some growth, some improvement in this area of career, as you have this Martian energy to push through any sort of obstacles, any sort of projects that you need to get done here in this area. For those of you with a Pisces moon, Pisces ascendant, this will be Mars here in your fifth house. So, a lot of passion centered around your creativity, and Mars is a very beneficial planet for you as it controls your ninth house of Scorpio, where this is an area where you can see a lot of success, a lot of growth, a lot of improvement here, and especially in terms of anything regarding your career, expressing yourself, putting yourself out into the world with your skills and talents, especially as Mars is controlling that second house of your fixed assets. So, this is a time where you can see some growth, you can see some fame, some attention, possibly in this area with Mars here. A lot of passion, a lot of initiative to really put yourself out into the world. So, this has been your horoscope for the transit of Mars in Cancer happening here on June 10th. This will be a huge time where we can see some challenges in terms of our energy, our drive, the way that we are presenting ourselves, putting ourselves out there with the soldier, the primal energy that we are all asserting ourselves with being in this debilitated state. So, big time to store up your energy, to take needed rest, needed breaks, and to keep pushing through with your responsibilities and the things that nurture you on your purpose and your path. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content moving forward. We have some more transits to talk about here in the month of June, including a couple of retrogrades, and we will be shifting ahead here as we continue in this eclipse season and retrograde season with a lot of changes and growth and internal work to do internally. So you don't want to miss out on any future videos. If you have any requests, anything that you'd like me to cover as far as Vedic astrology goes, feel free to leave it down below in the comments. Any questions, any concerns that you want to leave it all down below in the comments and I will get back to you. I want to thank you all once again. I hope you all have a great day and I will see you in the next video.